It's hard to be depressed when you're busy all the time. A lot of the time we say, here's our emotions. Our emotions are us. And we identify them. I'm depressed. I'm sad, and then you identify as an object which is depressed, right? Not as a being which has emotions occasionally. Emotions are your way of experiencing life. So there has to be some kind of up and down, some kind of push and pull. Otherwise, you cannot tell that you are here.
What is up, everyone? It's Tom here, back again with another one of these videos. In this one, I'm joined by John here. How do you say your last name? Shuett? John Shuett?
Yeah, that's definitely not right. Shooty.
Judy. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we're going to dive into some interesting topics around mindset and yeah, some interesting things. So I'm excited for this conversation. Thanks for jumping on, John.
Yeah. It took so much effort to click the join meeting button, but I'm here.
Your finger
Sweet.
must be
So
sore after clicking.
it's so much clicking today, you know how it goes. But here we are.
Nice, nice. So why don't you start off, like introduce maybe a little bit of your background and what you've been working on and yeah, just who you are so people can kind of get a bit of a gist.
Well, I'm still trying to answer that question myself. So stay tuned. We might never know who John Shooty is, but um I've been a sales guy for 4 years. I sold cars and then I sold insurance in an MLM and then I sold merchant services. Like whenever you go like swipe your credit card,
Yeah.
that little machine. I used to walk into businesses like scared little 19, 20-year old and try and pitch them on that, which was like terrifying to me at the time. Now I think that'd be kind of fun, but it's just like I don't want to do that. You know, um, and then I sold pools in people's homes.
Mm.
I sold $21,471 pool, above ground pool, not in ground, above ground pool.
Mm.
So I don't know, like 35 grand AUD if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Something like that. And so big I would go in and give like a 90-minute presentation about pools, and I still found a way to keep it interesting. And I memorized the 90 minutes. That was the coolest part of what I did was actually remember the whole thing. What else did I do? I got into selling coaching. So I sold coaching for a Amazon FBA offer. And I started learning about online business. And I'm like, holy crap, what's this whole thing? Because I didn't know about it. And like I had gone straight from like living in motels, having no money. I was like negative 2,500 bucks, like scraping by, and like the little motel that's like hidden behind the post office, next to the Waffle House. That's like anybody in America is going to know what I'm talking about. But that was sort of the thing while I was doing that. And then I got into like the whole high ticket space, and I was like, holy heck, I can make lots of money. And then I made like an $8,000 month, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm rich. And I went and bought, I have the computer I have now. I spent like $3,500 on computer equipment. And I'm like, I'm going on the road. And then every single month after that, my money just went like this. Right. Because like before that, I was in like a shitty little office in my grandmother's, what was it? Like her house. She had an extra bedroom that I turned into an office, and it didn't look good. And I made more money there than I did with all the cool backdrops and all the cool places that I was traveling.
Yeah.
Like because of my focus, I didn't have stuff distracting me, and it's hard to be depressed when you're busy all the time, right? But when you're traveling, you have a bunch of downtime when you drive, whenever you're doing all these things. So lots of thinking time. That's where I would get super depressed. Let's see. I did that. Sold for a guy, mindset guy, John Whiting. And that was a really fantastic experience because it taught me how to have standards.
Mm.
Most people don't understand what that looks like. And it helped me raise my own. And when I say standards, I mean like data tracking and like organization. One of the things that he didn't teach me this, I kind of came up with it on my own, but organization creates an organization.
Mm.
You don't have a business without documentation. And that's kind of been one of my biggest learning lessons is like, you can say you have a business, but if you died and somebody had to pick up a book of like what your business was, would they be able to figure it out? Could they just pick up the business right where you left off, 20 years after you were dead, sitting in the coals of some house fire, and they pick it up and they're like, oh, this is cool. I can run a business. Because that's exactly what a business is. It's a set of SOPs and procedures. It's not just the money flowing, because money flowing, a drug dealer, by that definition, has a business. I think they do business. I think they conduct business and do money flows, but I don't think they have a business because you don't want to document anything in a drug
Very
dealing
true.
business, which I did too. I sold drugs at one point. Fun fact, but it's too long ago for me to get in trouble for it. So here we are. Um, so I was way when I was like 18 out of my grandmother's garage. And then from that I sold for a really good e-com offer, like how to build an e-commerce business. Sold for one of those for the last 6 months, and then for the past 2 months, I've been in my own business
Mm.
doing all the mindset stuff. I got introduced to a kind of like a Yoda, like guy who works with millionaires and billionaires, and I've been working. I actually talked to him earlier today. That's why I feel so good today because I love talking to this guy. He's like the best person I know. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in my journey. I can't claim to be an expert on anything. So if you're listening to this, maybe don't listen to me. Who knows? Maybe I'm not the best person to take advice from. But I don't
Man,
know. I
and
think
that's what I love about your like whole kind of character around this, you know. I love that energy of like you can listen to me or you don't listen to me. Or it's just like so down to earth, you know. It's so authentic. And I think that's what's really lacking in a lot of the online space at the moment. It's getting better, but there's still a lot of just disingenuous people, you know, who are just they have intentions to sell you something and there's like all this fake like friendship and stuff. But that's what I really like connected with you on, man, because we had a chat like, you know, a few weeks ago, I think it was. And it was just like
60 years ago.
yeah. And it's just like such a cool chat, you know. We just jumped on, like we were two friends talking and we just like talked about cool stuff and that's what I really love about you, man. And maybe we could talk a bit about that in the space how you've seen like connection to be such a vital part of like even business, not only business success, but like, you know, maybe in your sales roles as well. Like how have you found connection and building network to be like such an important part of that?
I'm going to answer a different question along the same lines. Um, just because uh, how have I found that? My answer to that would be really simple and boring. It's I found it. How did I? I looked. Um, so not to roast your question, but on the thing that you were mentioning before, I think one of the reasons why people don't connect with people is because they don't understand what it means. I think most of the time, like you can probably feel my presence right now.
Mm,
Can you?
yeah.
So have you ever hopped on a call where it didn't feel like anybody was in there?
Yeah, 100%.
That's how most people are. And it's not that
Yeah.
there's nobody in there. There's no being in there. It's not that they're not there. It's they have so many walls of mental stuff. And the reason why um I would venture to say that my communication is more clear than most people's, and that it's easier to get to you.
Mm,
Whenever I send a piece of data through time and space, it gets to you quicker. You don't have to process it as much. It just
mm,
hits you. And there's two things that are going on right there in the communication cycle, right? Because I don't have anything in the way, like I don't feel afraid. I could feel nervous right now. Like to be honest with you, my body wants to feel nervous right now, but my body is not me.
mm.
right? Like being on a, recorded, whatever. I've been in front of groups of people, and it's always nerve-wracking to be in front of people, but that's your body. That's not you. Your body's the thing feeling the emotions. And a lot of the time we say, here's our emotions. Our emotions are us,
Mm,
right? And then we identify them. I'm depressed. I'm sad, and then you are what you identify as an object which is depressed, right? Not as a being which has emotions occasionally. Emotions are your way of experiencing life, right? And it's how you can tell you're alive. If there was no emotions ever, you'd be perfectly neutral. Your wavelengths would be like this. And if you were looking on a like that the life thing where it has like the beep, beep, the heart rate monitor or whatever it is, it would be flat. You couldn't tell that you exist,
mm,
right? So there has to be some kind of up and down, some kind of push and pull. Otherwise, you cannot tell that you are here.
yeah.
And that's necessary. But in communication, I don't believe there should be any emotion in communication. And most people have some kind of communication, some kind of barrier.
Mm,
Not like I'm afraid of you hurting me. That's part of it, but we'll put that over here for a second. Just they're thinking things when you're talking. You might be thinking things right now while I'm talking. That's okay. But there might be things going on in your universe, and a communication has to travel so far through all that mental shit to get to you as the being.
mm,
And I'm sure you've said things to like clients or prospects where like it just kind of went around them and that they didn't process anything you just said.
yeah. 100%.
Or like it takes forever to get to them, and maybe they have a cognition like 15 seconds later. You're like talking, and then they're like, oh, to a thing you were talking about like 15 seconds ago. Right? There's a delay. And that's because of all the mental stuff. In John's program, it's charge, mental charge.
Mm,
Actually, in almost every single spiritual book I've ever read calls it mental charge.
mm,
And there are tools which you can see, you can actually tell how heavy an emotion is, how
mm,
much energy it displaces in your body. There are tools which allow you to see that,
mm,
right? So your emotions are not a um, like chemical thing, right? You as a being feel the emotion, and then your body feels it right after. Okay. Like whenever you are depressed all the time, you're more likely to get sick. Right. I
yeah.
was telling you that story about like the people on my team who were being passive aggressive.
Mm,
Whenever you have people who put you in your head and make you think hard. I remember hopping on a sales call with a person from a very reputable sales training company that I still respect. But I hopped on the call with him, and he's like guilting me. He's
mm,
like, "Why did you hop on the call with me if you don't have money?" And
mm.
it's like, I think I think so I'm totally roundabout way of answering your question. We're answering the question that I decided to answer, right? But I think people have, because I've been studying like really hardcore hopping on calls with millionaires. Like I had one yesterday, I had one the day before. Like it's just a consistent thing I do. I just find one and I hop on a call with them. And the idea that people have in their mind about how millionaires act is not how they actually act.
Mm,
We think that they're stuck up and that they're rude in the way that they guard their time. Some are, most aren't. Okay. And that because they have made money in the past, they believe that they are better than you.
mm,
And because of that, we think that that's the identity that we're supposed to hold if we want to become a millionaire or if we are a millionaire. That's where you get all these like entitled new rich people. So it's called new rich. In 70s when they had a wave of new rich then, it was called new rich then. Right? It's all the younger folks who are like making all this money. Back then, it was people who might have been inheriting money or making money. the challenge is that they don't actually have reality on how millionaires and billionaires operate and think. And the more you do things, whenever you are rude to somebody, you create a guilt charge inside of yourself. You feel guilty, you feel bad. You did something you knew you weren't supposed to do. We're all supposed to share love. We know that. It's not like, crazy concept. We can say, hey, I wish I had time to share with you right now. But unfortunately, I have such a busy schedule that I would be harming myself if I was to take this time and spend it with you. So it's nothing against you. I wish I had more time in my day to spend with you, but I just can't. And I understand if you're upset with me. That's a lot better than, hey, dude, I'm busy. Fuck off.
Mm. It's like better
Right.
communication, like you were talking about, right?
Yeah. Like, and going back to the thing that you were mentioning is like how people don't want to connect. It's because I think people have a false idea of what all this means.
Mm.
Like a lot of the work that we do, like, has to do with defining words. Like, what is communication? Like, I've spent probably 6 hours just defining all the things that go into a communication cycle. And then also, in addition to that, today, 2 hours of communication drills. I do 3 hours of it every day and have for the past like 3 months, 3 or 4 months. Before that was 2 hours a day for like
Mm.
a year and a half. Like, it's not, and it's just gaining clarity. It's just peeling back all those layers of emotions that keep you from being able to deliver a communication to somebody clearly. Because I
Yeah.
can say the exact same thing in the exact same tonality, and somebody can come off like rude,
Yeah.
and they will love it when I say it. And I've
100%.
literally watched it happen, like, because like it's like, oh crap, don't lean back in a stool, by the way. Just learned that the hard way. So um I'm using a dining room table as a desk right now because I'm in Airbnb. But yeah, going back to your whole thing on communication, if we can tie everything I just said into a nice, neat little bag, effectively, people have too much mental stuff is number one, and number two is they don't have reality. They don't have an understanding of what communication is. Let me ask you, have you ever gone in the dictionary and defined the word communication?
No, not many people have.
Right. Exactly. And it's okay that you haven't, like, but now it would be a sin if you didn't after this
Yeah.
call to go do that. Right. Because, and then go define every word in the definition of communication that you don't understand as well.
Yeah.
That is the simplest way to get better at in life. Like, everybody can do it.
Mm.
You don't have to have some spiritual guru helping you.
Yeah.
Like, if you just, whenever you don't understand something, go define all the words.
Mm.
Have you ever read a book and been like reading it and you like pass a page and then everything past that page you don't comprehend at all? You ever have that happen? And then
Uh,
you just like go through the book for the sake of going through the book, but then you get to
just
the end,
finish
you're
it
like, I
because,
feel really smart because that book seems smart, but I don't remember shit from that book. You
yeah.
ever have that happen?
That's another thing
So
is like memory as well, like memorizing stuff. But to quickly add to that, like defining words like sounds like such a powerful idea, and like that's something I've never even really considered, but it's like so true. It's like the meaning you assign to words defines how you act with those words. Like with communication, for example, how you define communication determines how you actually communicate. So it's a very interesting concept that you bring up.
yeah, and the challenge is that it takes time.
Mm.
But the thing is, how do you know that the refrigerator behind me is a refrigerator? Like, just visually.
It has handles. It's got like the little. It's just the shape of a refrigerator. It's also the color,
Okay.
like the metallic color is usually a refrigerator.
So it has definition.
It has what?
There, there are things on it which are well defined,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
would give you an indication that it's a refrigerator,
yeah.
right? You can define the handle as, like the stick that you grab to open the door. The
Mm,
door is the slab that's connected by hinges. The hinge is the part that goes like this, right? That
yeah.
allows it to open and close, right? It's made of parts. And the thing is like if you were trying to go learn how to work on an engine, you would probably, well, let me ask you, what would be the best way if you were trying to learn about engines? How do you think is the best way to learn about an engine?
To go and see one, to go and touch one,
Yes,
and break it down and look at all the parts.
yes. And that is everything in our life. Everything in our life is communication. I communicate with this table. I don't know if you can hear that, but I'm tapping it. My hand is communicating with it. It's sending something to it. It's sending a vibration to it. And
Mm,
then you can hear the vibration coming back to my ears. The table's communicating with my ears with sound. Everything is a form of communication. Okay. The way that you communicate clearly is you understand what you're saying.
mm,
Most people don't understand what they're saying or why they're doing something or how to do it. Like I'm really, really good at setting calls in the DMs. The reason why is because I understand every single step and exactly what needs to happen, not the words that I'm saying. I don't have a script.
mm,
Words will come to you when you have understanding. The reason why
mm.
people use scripts in sales is because they don't understand enough about sales to know what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So a script has to tell them how. All the script's words are probably the right words to say. But if they had a higher understanding of the subject itself, then the right words would always come and they wouldn't require a script. The best salespeople in the world still have scripts, though. It doesn't mean you take out the tool. It just makes the tool more powerful.
Mm,
Okay. And in defining things, um, the like how did you tell me it was a refrigerator? You defined it. You
yeah.
told me its parts, right? And that's how everything in life works. So the reason why you should probably go and define stuff. Like if you're unclear about money, first go look at your money situation, find out where you are. You need to know where you are. And then any terminology you don't understand, define it until you can explain it to a 5-year-old.
Mm,
It's a really good way. Like if you can't understand this word good enough to be like, you know, um, what is it? Fractional reserve banking is whenever I give my $1 to the bank and they create 9 pretend dollars and send those 9 pretend dollars out to all of the people who want to borrow money. And and then whenever they have that money in their bank, they do it again and again. That's fractional reserve banking, right? If you can't now, I might not have explained that perfectly, but that's the idea. Is like a 5-year-old would probably be able to understand that. And if I can explain it to a 5-year-old, 5-year-olds like they are much more intelligent than us. The reason why, like they have so much more creativity. I think creativity is the largest indicator of intelligence, not like how well, because like creativity solves problems in ways that in like IQ doesn't, right? Like
100%.
I've always been like the lazy guy on teams, and I found the most creative way to solve problems because I didn't want to work hard. So it's
Yeah,
like, how can I get this done with the least amount of work, right? It's creativity that did that, right?
exactly.
And I think kids are trained out of their creativity because of all the mental charge and crap that they're told. They're not taught how to be creative and how to use their creativity in school. They're taught how to push it away and how to memorize things. When you brought up memory earlier, there's no need to memorize things. Oh, holy shit! I'm about to take you on a whole, whole thing, man. Did I tell you the whole remember thing last time that you and I talked?
Uh, I think briefly, yeah, because I remember we talked about like stuff around memory because you have a really
Yeah,
good memory, so you like remember things.
yeah, it's insane because and the reason why you remember that I have a good memory, just to prove it to you, to everybody who's listening, is that on that call that we had like 3 weeks ago, I brought up to you that you and I had a call like a year and a half ago while I was on John Whiting's team and you didn't remember. And I
Mm,
remembered the problems that you had on that call, on our call 2 weeks ago.
mm,
That's why you remember that.
yeah,
I didn't have to go sit down and memorize that. That's not how memory works. Okay. Can I share my screen with a do the whole whiteboard thing? I know I'm
yeah,
like
yeah,
totally hijacking your thing,
yeah, for
and
sure.
I'm not gonna apologize because I'm having fun. So let me see here. Are you having fun?
Yeah, man. I love this.
All
I
right.
love it.
So,
I have a like top of mind question I want to ask, but let's go through
yeah,
this and then I'll come back.
ask me the question. I will not forget what I'm about to show you.
All right. I yeah, I just wanted to ask with like the whole emotions. Let's go into it after this. I'll remember it. I'll remember
Okay, okay, cool. Now, if you don't remember it, I'm going to make tons of fun of you, and so should everybody else who's listening. So,
it.
okay. So, I explained to you like the structure of the universe last time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, where, oh my gosh, golly, here we go. What do we get enough? Yeah, there we go. So effectively, you created everything. You're a spiritual being and you created this whole universe as your playground. You're like, all right, I'm up here in the spiritual universe. I need something to do, right? Because let's start with the structure of emotions first to keep it simple. We're gonna do blue for this one. Beautiful. All right, cool. So for show and tell today, I'm going to be talking to us about remembering, but I gotta make sure we establish a few foundations first. All right, so this is fun. So uh, the the structure of emotions is pretty simple. You have negative emotions, right, or negative perspectives, rather. You have
Mm-hmm.
things which you see as negative,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you have things which you see as positive. Okay. Like I feel sad. Which side would that go on?
Negative, obviously, it's a
All
negative
right, cool.
perspective.
I really, really love money. Which side does that go on?
Positive.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. See, it's simple, right? And I'm not even, oh man, there's so much I could dive into with you on this. But that's fairly simple, right? We've got positive and negative. And for every positive, there is an equal and opposite negative. Okay.
Mm.
Now, I'm not going to go into a whole slew of, because like the first thing that somebody's going to say is, okay, well, what about murder? What about rape? What about all these things? They do have equal and opposite positives. Okay. It takes a lot of work to find them, but that's what I used to do is I used to help people clear out trauma. And that's like a big part of what I still have to do. Like if somebody brings me something traumatic that we need to deal with, this is part of how we deal with it. Because if you can continuously believe and see that thing as wholly negative, then it's going to be this weight in your mind. And that's where PTSD comes from.
Mm.
The trauma is created by you, the person who has it,
Yeah.
because you put so much mental significance on a thing that happened on an event that it now bears so heavy in your mind that it literally sucks everything else in your life into it. So you see everything, men are dangerous. You know, I can't go to nightclubs anymore. I can't walk on the street alone. I can't go do this. I can't, and it's a real thing. Like I'm using the rape example. It's a very scary thing to deal with. And that's how you see your whole life. Is through this negative lens. It's like everything is scary. I gotta protect myself. I can't let people in. You know, they might hurt me, they might take advantage of me. And that's victim mentality, right? There's a lot of other things that go into it and similar things. And I don't want to invalidate anybody's feelings either. Like if you're listening to this and you had some bad stuff happen, I'm not calling you a bad person for having that happen. That is not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying if you want to feel better, you can feel entirely better. You don't have to feel kind of better. You don't have to go to therapy and get 6% better over the course of 20 years. Like that is not how it has to be. We can like get rid of it now because all you have to do is balance it out. If you can see every single positive neutrally from a neutral standpoint, see every single positive of that really, really negative situation, then it has no emotional hold on you. You've now cleared the emotions away from the negative event, and now it just becomes an event.
Mm,
Does that make sense, Tom?
absolutely. I think
Okay.
it's so true. Like everything is just a perspective. Everything is just
Hmm.
meaning that we assign to things. So the less meaning we assign to things, the more neutral we can operate.
That's exactly right. Like I'm a firm believer in I'm gonna die, none of this matters, because I also know I'm gonna do it over and over and over again.
Mm,
This ain't my only life. You don't only live once, but you will only live once from this perspective.
mm,
And that's what makes it special, is that you will never be Tom again. You know, you chose this life because it's one that you haven't lived yet. And that's why it's exciting. For the person who's homeless, they haven't been homeless yet. They want to experience homelessness because it's so much different. Maybe all their other past lives were so good. They want to go on the roller coaster of some other ride, some other emotional ride, right? And that's why we exist in the first place. And that's what I'm about to explain. So, in the structure of the universe, you have positive and negative, right? And these positives and these negatives, like, have you ever heard of like somebody's like pendulum swinging?
no, like between emotions, you mean?
Yeah, like where they go really negative and then
Mm,
really positive, really
yeah,
negative, really positive,
yeah.
right? And like wisdom is in the middle. Okay, it's neutrality. It's the ability to see both sides and neutralize it, right?
Mm,
Not feel any sort of way about an event, because the person who has no feelings about an event can make the most like best decisions about an event. Having no emotions about an event doesn't mean you don't have creativity. It in fact allows you to be more creative
yeah.
because you don't have your emotions getting in the way. One of the things that I have learned is that I am becoming an artist in what I do. I create the high end vision boards and we do the vision work and we do all that. I'm not an artist first. That's not what I was first. I was like in sales and business and all that, which is beautiful. I think that sets me up much better for what I'm going to be doing, to be more strict and like have some kind of SOP to the whole thing.
Mm,
But artists are always seen as depressed, angry, frustrated, whatever the emotion is that they're feeling, people. And that's where their art comes from, is pain. But it doesn't have to. Pain is not required for creativity.
mm,
Pain, they have pain, and then they also have creativity. Two separate things. Okay. It always gets mixed up. Like you can have creativity and not be in pain. I am not in pain and I have creativity. How can that be? Shouldn't I be completely depressed and incapable of like handling my emotions and like throwing paint cans at the wall and getting mad all the time? No, no, that's not, no, that's silly, right? You can have both. You can have both of anything you want. But let me go back to this because I'm answering your question on remembering or taking us down a rabbit hole. So have you ever heard of source or
yeah,
like the middle way,
yeah.
anything like that? So that's like you, right? You are not a body. You're not your body. You have a body, right? You have a body. You
What
have
a
a
beautiful
body.
body.
I know, right? We all got the same shaped body. It's a candy corn, right? Um, you're not a body. You are a spirit driving around a body, right?
Mm. Yeah, it's like the driver of a
Right. Your body is your car,
yeah.
right? And life is the road, right? And my job is to help people figure out how to set up their GPS, basically. I help you get so unbelievably clear on the road ahead that you can't stop driving, because most people stop driving because the road gets unclear.
Mm.
Um, they like Tom, you'd probably be moving 10 times faster if you were 10 times more clear on what you're doing.
Yeah. Clarity is everything. But
Right.
then also like you're talking about here, it's also neutrality with emotions because emotions can hold you back
That's
too.
what clarity is. That's
Yeah.
exactly what clarity is. Right. Because that's part of the process, is how do we remove the emotions away from the goals? So that
Mm,
way your goals are intentions and not infatuations. And if we
yeah.
can do that, then you are a causative creator, not a reactive, accidentally happen upon the things that I create. Not tripping and falling into creating the thing, but rather running and creating it around you.
Yeah.
Right. Have you ever heard like the treadmill theory?
No.
I think it's called, or something like that, where it's like, I believe this is true. I believe we actively project and create the real reality which we see in our mind. And the idea of the treadmill, and then I'll get back to this. I'm going to keep going on tangents, so like enjoy, I guess. Who cares? So you're walking down a road and you can only see, this far. Or let me use a better example. Have you ever played a video game? Like an
Yeah.
open world video game like GTA or Skyrim?
Mm-hmm.
You know how it like loads in front of you? You can see it.
Yeah. Yeah. You can only see so far ahead.
So what I believe, and actually it's not what I believe. I can prove this to be true over a long enough period of time because it's been proven true for me, and I can prove it true for anybody else. So it's not that I believe it, it's that I've actually seen it. It's not, well, belief is creation. So technically, because I created it, it is true for me. Um, but I've also seen an abundant amount of proof for this, which is that um, as you're walking along in the video game, it's loading in front of you.
Mm.
And that's also this perspective that we're looking at here is whenever you ascend, whenever you hear, spiritual gurus and all that kind of stuff talking about ascension, it means that you can look from this point, the highest point above all emotion and above the entire physical universe. And whenever you think something, it projects it into existence. Your mind is a literal projector, and it spits all the shit in your mind out. And you will get exactly what you ask for. So whenever you're like, I really, really want $1 million, but all these doubts, all those doubts also get created along with the path to $1 million.
Mm.
So that's why you got to clear all that shit out.
Yeah.
Like those are all counter intentions.
Yeah.
So you're getting the results of having the counter intentions. And then you focus on the counter intentions. Oh my God, I have so much doubt. What am I going to do? I'm not moving very fast, And
Yeah.
then now you get sucked into the mind instead of causatively creating your own reality. Um,
Mm.
back to the remembering thing. I just want to go through that. Um, if you can't tell, I could literally talk about this all day. So you'll have to tell me to shut up at some point. Um, I'm glad you're having fun though. You look like you're
It's
having a
good,
blast.
man. It's good.
Yeah. So, um, effectively, as we kind of go up, we talked about this last time as well, is the entire physical universe is made out of, what is it? It's like this, like that, right? Like that. Terrible drawing of it, but a nucleus, right? The entire physical universe is made out of negative particles and positive particles,
Mm.
electrons
Duality.
and
Duality is
protons.
baked into the universe.
No, it is the universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, what I'm saying very, very specifically, this is the structure of the universe. It's not baked into it. It is it.
Mm.
Without the positive and negative, without the challenges and the rewards, without the push and the pull, there would not exist a physical universe. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah. 100%.
And that is exactly what it's made out of. There's not like some fancy workaround middle of the road, we're going to compromise on it way. Like this is exactly what science says and what spirituality says. There's no difference on this one. A
Mm.
lot of stuff in science gets wrong. Okay. They try and explain spiritual stuff scientifically and it doesn't work because
Mm.
science is down here on, like, if we're looking at this here, let me, science is down here in the mind. Okay. Spirituality is up here. Science does not have the perspective it needs to explain spirituality.
Mm.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's effectively um how that works. So the entire physical universe is positive and negative particles, and it works in this structure. You have your positives and your negatives. Off like this. This is gonna look so totally wacky, but we'll do our best. So we got
Uh,
negative, 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 and we've got positive. Yeah, I'm not gonna draw it like this. This looks awful. I'll draw it a different way if we need to. But effectively, whenever you are remembering, the reason why I can remember more is because I have less mental stuff. Okay, I'm not fully enlightened. I haven't gone through all the levels of mental stuff, of which I'm going through a full curriculum to get rid of all the levels of mental stuff. And it is a very, very long process. It's like 3 years. And it's fun. I've been doing it for 3 years and we're not even close. We got another 3 years to go. But you
mm,
know, I've ascended some, right? And I've made some progress because I have less mental stuff in the way. What remembering is, it's you're becoming a member of again. You created the whole physical universe, which means you
mm,
created all the data that there could be to exist in the physical universe. And whenever you're remembering, it means membering again. You're becoming a member of again.
mm,
You're you are becoming one with your creation again. That is remembering. Okay. Whenever I tell you spiritual stuff and you're like, oh, it's not that you didn't know it because you feel it resonate in you. I didn't have to like shove it in you to get you to get it. Your understanding came from yourself, not from me.
exactly. Yeah.
Right? Like all the stuff in the news, we talked about this last time for sure. All the stuff in the news and in newspapers and in the media, like they're trying to convince you. It is a indoctrination process. It is
Mm,
a sales process. They are trying to sell you on their ideas and beliefs of COVID is real and the pharmaceutical company is here to help you and all these other things. If you have to be convinced of it, it's likely not true.
mm,
On a sales call, I don't convince people of things. I help them see things from my perspective. And if at that point they're like, oh my God, that's not true, then don't buy from me. Perfect. We're on the same page and you still think it's the wrong thing from you. Certainly don't buy from me.
yeah.
Like literally all a sales call should be is two people getting on the same page. My problem is this. What I'm hearing is your problem is this. Well, kind of, but this, that, and the other. Okay, so what I'm hearing is this. Yes, that's exactly what my problem is. Perfect. What have you tried to solve the problem? This. So what I'm hearing is you tried this. Well, yeah, and some other things and this, that, and the other. Gotcha. So what I'm hearing is you tried all these things and it didn't work. Why not? Well, because of these reasons. Gotcha. What else? This, that, and the other. I understand. I appreciate you sharing that with me. What I'm hearing is this shit didn't work because this, that, and the other. Yes. Oh my God, you get it. A sales process is just getting on the same page as somebody. That's
Yeah.
literally all it is.
Mm,
And once you're on the same page, if your solution is the right solution, it should require no convincing. Like if any of your people want to come get some vision work and help from me, I don't care if you buy from me. Who cares? That's not the idea. We got to get on the same page because if I can get on the same page as you, then I can help you find a solution, even if it's not me. Like if
mm,
your solution is you need lead gen, we're going to go solve a lead gen problem. We're not going to go solve a vision problem. Okay. Like if you're actually on the same page as somebody, the reason why you have rapport breaks on sales calls is because you're not on the same page and
mm,
somebody's making an assumption, right? Or like somebody gets upset because you said something and you misunderstand why they're upset. I've had people hang up on me for the goofiest reasons, but it's just because it was a misunderstanding and they were really in their head thinking their things. And I thought we were on the same page. And then as soon as we weren't, they're like, skirt, and they hang up. And but
Yeah.
those are like lower quality prospects. Like higher quality people don't usually hang up. They seek to understand and get back on the same page, right? Because we're here for the same reasons. That's why at the beginning of a sales call, you say, or you get clear on what their intention is. So that way, if you have the both have the same intention, then we're going in the same direction. If you don't, then you're slowly going to diverge. And then, they're here and you're here, and you wonder why the call didn't go well. It's because you guys weren't aligned in where you were going. Like,
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. That was from the remembering thing, but um, the whole reason why I bring that up is because it's a sales process. If it has to be a process of really trying to convince you, then it's not true.
Mm.
If it's true for you, it's true. Like you will feel it inside of yourself. And now
Mm.
sometimes I can introduce this stuff to people and it doesn't hit. It's because I'm going too far too fast. They might be way down here, right? In terms of their ascension, their ability to comprehend spiritual concepts and how awake and aware they are. And I might be up here. And I'm trying to explain to them something down here,
Mm.
way too high. I got to explain to them something right here. And then once they get that, then something right here, then something right here, then something right here. And that's why it takes so long. Because if somebody was to try and explain to me something that's way up here, dude, I'm going out of my body and I'm freaking out and like I'm going ape shit. Like I've seen it happen, right?
Mm.
Whenever you're introduced to stuff too far too fast,
Yeah.
So it's everything has a correct process.
Mm.
And going back to the communication thing, reason why people are bad at communication is because they don't understand what they're doing. They just don't understand it, and they think they do. They've talked their whole life, so they assume that they understand what communication is. And I've talked for a really long time. Was any of that useful or helpful?
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's really good. I wanted to ask, talking about the emotions and that side of things. I don't know if you have any perspectives or shares on this, but how have you found like the emotional difference between masculine and feminine dynamic with like man and woman?
Yeah.
Juicy question, right? And takes us a bit away from talking about business, but I'm curious your perspectives or thoughts around how you found that emotional game to be more difficult maybe for women, just based on like hormones and like how their body operates. Like I'm curious on your thoughts and perspectives around this.
So do you believe that you're a body?
Yeah. I mean, no,
So
I'm more than a body,
pick
but
one. No, no, you're either a body or you aren't a body. Are you a body or are you not?
I'm not a body, but I have a body that is being used.
Okay. So if your emotions, you have a mind where your emotions are. You have a body, and then you are a being that controls those two things, a mind and a body. What does your hormones have to do with anything?
I mean, it's like the physical reality, right? It's like for people who haven't
It
transcended.
comes after.
Yeah.
It comes after. You feel emotions in your mind, and then the hormones pop up in your body. Okay.
Mm.
I just want to clear that up because you're going to ask me about hormones. Um, Women are more emotional, but they're more empathetic, and the reason why they're all woo woo and more spiritual more often is because the feminine is here to experience, and the masculine is here to create the experience. And men, whenever that, I got a bug right there on my key light. Um, he was down here before, and then I was like, bye, because I wasn't gonna kill him. So now I got a little bug friend. But the masculine is here to create and do, and like get stuff done, and then feminine is like here to express and feel and experience the creation of the masculine. And we all go back and forth between when we're doing something that's masculine and we're experiencing something that's feminine, right? we could be doing and experiencing at the same time. That's kind of where flow comes in, where we're using both at the same time and we're able to do and feel and experience and we're riding the ride as we're having the ride, you know?
Mm.
And um that's all it is. So the experience is going on the ride. I just heard something. All right. Well, wherever that bug is, it better not sneak up on me. You just see like a big nut bug with a knife behind me. No, but anyway. But you've got um I think women are exactly as they should be. I think I think if we because I'm currently living adjacent to the hood. We take out people who are in the hood because they operate a little bit differently. They dress differently. They put on makeup differently. They make themselves smell different. Like it's very interesting how and the reason why I bring up the hood or whatever you want to call it is because it's just a group of really low tone people. The way you can tell if somebody is higher tone, higher emotional tone, is how well they take care of their things.
Mm.
And you drive through the hood and it's like a bunch of fences that are broken down, cars in, sitting in the grass rusting, maybe a broken window that hasn't been fixed. Like it's disheveled, and that is representative in that emotional tone with the people as well. So it has nothing to do with like people in the hood. There's plenty of like high tone, very few actually, but plenty across the world. You see really, really smart, really intelligent, really capable people come out of really, really poor neighborhoods. They're there. Just like there's plenty of really, really dumb people in wealthy neighborhoods. Like it has nothing to do with the people and their intelligence. It has to do with like their really pushed down, suppressed tone, if they're maybe in a lower income neighborhood. That's all it is. And the masculine and the feminine act really, really weird. It's very animalistic.
Mm.
And whenever you're in really, really low income neighborhoods. So I want to take that out of the equation whenever I'm having this conversation about masculine and feminine, because we're talking about like, a flowy woman who dances and has fun, or like a masculine man who goes to the gym and gets things done. Like that's what we're thinking of as masculine and feminine. Or like a masculine woman, like Layla Hormozy, that is a masculine woman, a woman in her masculine. It doesn't mean that she's big and buff. She actually is. She's um like a bodybuilder, or at least last I checked. I could totally be wrong on that, but at one point she was super into the gym. But she doesn't mean that she doesn't have feminine traits. And the reason why she likes Alex is because Alex is just more dominant masculine than she is.
Mm.
She still wants, like as a woman, still wants to be dominated by the strong masculine leader figure. And that's what it is. The
Mm.
masculine leads, the feminine follows. Because
Yeah.
the masculine leads and takes on danger and does the doing. So that way the feminine can be like, oh my God, this is scary and fun and where are we going? Like it's like this fun trip where like the man's like serious and has to like fight a tiger or some shit. Right. And then she's like, oh my God, scared tiger, like,
So
and there's plenty of
you think this is like
feminine men.
this is deep rooted from like ancestors and stuff, right? It's like the animalistic
It's
traits that we
spiritual,
carry.
it's spiritual laws.
Mm.
Has nothing to do with ancestors. It's spiritual laws.
Mm.
Like masculine and femininity. That's the duality. We were literally just talking about that.
Yeah, yeah.
The positive and the negative, masculine and the feminine, right? We balance each other out. That's why I like a really masculine man and a really feminine woman, they get along so well. But a really masculine woman and a masculine man don't get along well. And a masculine woman and a feminine man work well. It has nothing to do with gender and gender roles or anything like that. It's literally the structure of the universe. It's the two poles,
Yeah,
right?
duality.
It's the duality. Yeah. So like that's all it is.
So
And
I'm
and the
curious,
gender
like,
roles and all that are what come from like ancestral stuff, which some of
mm,
that stuff, actually most of that stuff I actually do think is good. Like if we all have a role, things are clearly defined. And if
Yeah.
things are clearly defined, then they are efficient, and there's less crime, there's less problems in the world, there's less a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah.
But I also really don't like care if somebody's like a single mom,
Mm,
because like that's not my kid. There's plenty of fucked up kids in the world. Who cares? Let's move on.
yeah.
I got bigger fish to fry. Am I going to raise your kid? Probably not. Right. But am I going to respect you and treat you with love and compassion and understanding? For certain.
Yeah.
I'm not going to like just because I wouldn't date you or marry you doesn't mean that I can't respect you.
Yeah.
Just because I wouldn't do business with you doesn't mean I can't respect you. Just because you're a homeless guy on the street doesn't mean I can't grant you beingness and be loving and kind and give you dignity. Right. That's really what people want, is to be heard and to feel dignified. Right. And I don't know. I think where the whole fight is like the world's gonna be a mess either way. You just got to do your best on your own, and then
Mm,
slowly take responsibility for larger and larger things.
yeah.
And what I kind of try and do is like that big triangle I drew you last time, that 1,000 year timeline, is if I can train somebody on how to take responsibility for all things, then maybe they can make an impact so great that it affects the way that the world is going right now.
Mm,
That's my job, is to create people who do that.
yeah.
That's the best thing I can do. So
Mm. It's like
yeah,
embracing the ultimate meaningless of everything and then just going from there as like a foundation.
just pick out a game and play it.
Yeah,
Who cares?
exactly. Like we're all
You know?
gonna die, nothing's gonna matter. Nothing matters right now. In the grand scheme of the universe, like we're just fucking nothing. So
Yeah,
whatever you do, like just do something that you feel like doing.
do what you enjoy,
Yeah.
like, and
Build some
and
shit,
that you
create
can
some
make money
shit.
with. Yeah, do what makes you most creative, actually, because the more you create value for others, the more it will pour to you, and it's really easy to make money that way.
Yeah.
You just be useful and like create all the time. That's why Alex Hormozy, like his whole content strategy of like, if somebody puts out 20 pieces of content a week, they do pretty well. What if I do 1,000? And then it works really well, because you like, it's the law of reciprocity. Like the universe owes you now. You
You know
put
what I
so much
love?
value back.
You know what I love about Alex Mosey is like it's so straight to the point, and like we were talking about, it's no emotion. Like he's like,
Mhm.
okay, you're not making enough sales, just do more fucking sales calls. Get a better script, get better
Yeah.
at doing sales calls. Like it's and business is like that. It's so fucking simple and logical. And if you just look at the data, track the data, and look at where the gaps are and fix it, like it's as simple as that. And so I think
Yeah.
it's like obviously there's like skill discrepancies for a lot of people, like they need to learn things, but everything's in front of you. Like you have everything you need. Like you need to learn how to make sales. Like go and watch some videos, go and talk to some coaches, go and like do the work. Like there's such simplicity with business, and I think that's why it's
Hmm.
so fun because it's like you can take all emotions out of it and just look at it from a logical standpoint and build shit, and it's like so fun.
Yeah. You can do that with anything.
Yeah.
Like everything's simple. There's nothing on this earth that is so complex you can't learn it.
Mm, mm.
You know?
I'm
So
curious where your beliefs are around this. Like, you find in a lot of these spiritual communities, like people talking about oneness and like love being the ultimate meaning of the universe or the center point of everything. How do you think that fits into duality? Like oneness, like how can you have oneness but then also have duality within oneness? How does that kind of coexist? Is it even possible?
it's that thing I drew earlier. It's that triangle where it splits off into positive and negative, and then you have source at the top. If everything was one, there would be no physical universe,
Yeah.
because we all go back to source. And the only reason why anything physical exists is because we are here to experience it. If none of our split off perspectives from the source were down here experiencing it, there would be nothing, because there'd be nothing to witness it. So there'd be nothing created,
Yeah.
because your mind is what creates reality. So if there's no minds creating reality, there's no reality. There's no
Yeah.
physical reality, that is. And then you're just in the spiritual universe. I haven't spent a ton of time in the spiritual universe. It's hard to get there.
Uh-huh.
Takes a lot of mental walking. But when you're there, there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's no matter, there's no energy, there's no space, there's no time. You can't comprehend it. It's only an experience.
Yeah.
And the reason why we created the physical universe was because we got bored of that. So people who are like oneness and all that kind of stuff, yeah, that's cool. Go for that. Actually, that's exactly what I'm doing. Is I'm trying to go back to like the highest, oneness source, middle way, however you want to put it, version I can, because that's where I have the most power. But then I'm going to go in the physical universe and like fuck shit up, and I'm going to
Mm.
go create hard because that's the
Mm.
game I want to play. I want to get the most out of this lifetime, and see what kind of billionaire artist I can become.
Mm.
And that's a more interesting game to me. Like,
Yeah.
I have a cool game to play. If I was homeless, of course I'd want to be like the hippie who's oneness all the time because I'd want to die. That's what it requires. Like you have to get exit your body. So
Yeah.
like you can exit your body while your body's still alive and go be one for a while. And people who monks who do meditation like all the time can get there. I've exited my body before multiple times in what I do. But it's like what like you're gonna come back to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you more effective in the game you're playing unless you want to play the guy. Remember, all these are roles that people are playing. Life is a video game, and they chose the role of the hippie guy, the spiritual guru who's going to sit around and not do much shit all day. And that's okay. That's what they want. That's what
Yeah.
they chose. We shouldn't judge them. We shouldn't
Yeah.
judge anybody. What do I think of them? I don't actually think of them often at all.
Yeah.
That should be the answer to most things. Why should you think about people, other people?
Yeah.
Unless you're wanting to include them in your goals, what purpose do they serve in
Waste of
in
time.
being part of your thoughts? Yeah, like you're that's um like you're putting all this time and attention on somebody else instead of your own goals. They must be really important to you, like these spiritual gurus who you see talking about this stuff all the time, for you to put so much of your time and attention onto them. Like, why? Like you can go have more experiences to come up with your own like version of the world. Like
Mm.
um because that's what people some like for instance, like I'm talking to this one girl who might become a client. She's just now getting into sales and she doesn't know what she wants to do with her life. Now the thing is like the masculine goes and creates. So like here's one thing. It's going to be a different rabbit hole, so I'm not going to take us down it. But a woman has to be in her masculine to go create, right? So it's usually foreign territory because men spend most of their time in the masculine. If it's a masculine man, there's plenty of feminine men, like
Mm.
43% or whatever of men are kind of feminine, more feminine than masculine, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It just makes it easier for the masculine guys to get things done, get out of my way. That's um but they're important too because like they're usually the artists. They're
Mm.
usually the people who are sculpting and creating or like and I don't mean this in a rude way, but like working at coffee shops. I love coffee,
Mm.
and it's more feminine men who I see making my coffee. They do really, really good at it. They make it way better than I can. And I pay way too much for my coffee, like $8 for a black cup of coffee. Right. So like but they make things of value and it's worth like it's
Yeah.
worth full, not worth
Yeah.
less. So I don't want to downplay everybody's role in this game.
Yeah.
But like I'm talking to her and she wants to get into sales. And like the first thing I'm going to do with her is I'm not going to sit her down and have her go through my whole vision process. She has had so few experiences in life that she cannot know what she would want to do. So her goal right now should be let's stack money and experiences, nothing else.
Yeah.
Nothing else. Stack money and stack experiences. Then, once you have enough experiences, you've learned a ton. Like for me, it's listening to podcasts, stacking other people's experiences because I love studying war
Mm.
generals and great business owners. Those are the two people I study. I don't study anybody else. I literally don't give a fuck about anybody else. It's not how I want to
Mm.
be. I want to be like a great war general. I want to be like Napoleon. I want to be like, Caesar. I don't care if people killed them or exiled them. I don't care about all this stuff. I can do it better. I can improve upon it. Right. But I focus on who I want to be. Most people don't know what kind of character they want to create out of themselves.
Yeah.
So go figure that out. And if you need help, let me know, because that's literally all I do all day is help people do that. It's like my favorite thing.
Yeah.
If you can't tell, like I love this shit. But
That's it, man.
um, but yeah, that's um going oh, trying to trace where we were. But effectively, um, when you're seeking out what you want to do, if you haven't done enough, you're never going to have an idea. Like if you only do, I did sales for 4 years. Now I know I don't want to be a sales guy anymore
Mm,
unless I'm brokering out. I want to broker, like I'm in the middle of brokering $1 million piece of art that could turn into a $20 million deal,
mm,
right? Right now. I want to do that. That's exciting to me, not because of the dollar amount, because I'm selling art for lots of money. That sounds cool, like
yeah.
that sounds interesting to me, like an interesting game to play. So do I know anything about art? No, I don't. I still don't actually. I still barely know anything about art. I've been working on this for 2 months. Um, but I don't think I need to. I need to be good at sales, which is that first, few, maybe level 1 and level 10.
Yeah. It's
I
like
need to be sales,
foundational
and
skills. It's like foundational skills, like
yeah,
those just create the backbone for whatever you then go and do. Like, yeah, you might not have enjoyed sales now after like 4 or 5 years and you don't want to be in that field, but the skills you acquired from those 4 to 5 years is what gives you a backbone or foundation to now build other shit off of. So I think it's like so powerful, like looking at it from that perspective. And like, I'm a big advocate for the same thing as you're kind of talking about here, is like, go get experience. Like I teach people how to go find remote jobs that are like in the fields that they actually want to learn shit about. Like go get a sales job. Go get a fucking like remote job that's like in a field that interests you so you can learn that industry and basically
mhm,
get paid to get coached. Like you're jumping
yeah,
into companies with no experience and they're paying you to teach you stuff. So like you're getting paid to be taught stuff instead of going to university or
it's the
taking
best.
courses. Like that's the best way to do it, right? It's like such a smart play.
Yeah, and in the worst case scenario, you don't like it,
Yeah.
and that's
Try
just
something else.
as important information as knowing what you do like.
Yeah.
Because how do you carve something out of marble?
With lots of
How do you,
time.
no, no. How do you carve something out of marble? What is the process?
Well, you use some kind of tool to hack away at it slowly, piece by
You
piece.
hack away. So, like, knowing what you don't want is just as important as what you do want, because it's what creates the masterpiece. It's
Mm.
the removal process.
Yeah,
If
it
you know what
taking
to
away.
remove, it's much easier to create the art piece.
Yeah,
Right.
true, true, true. That's a good analogy. I like that one.
So, yeah. But I don't know, man. You want to end it here?
Yeah, that's perfect. I think that's a perfect point to end it. If you have
Perfect.
no experience, go and do shit. Go
Yeah.
create, go have fun. Life's fucking okay. One
Find
last
out.
question. This will be a quick one. What's
Yeah.
do you think, how there's like this saying, life's long or life's short? Which one do you believe more?
Life is.
Mm,
That's it.
boom.
Yeah. That's all it is. Everything just is.
Yeah. And then it's us that puts meaning onto things. Everything just is, but we put meaning on it to it.
Life is infinite. Life doesn't exist. Who cares? Life just is, you know? Like
Yeah.
that would be the neutral thing, you know? This table is. Is this table tall or short? That's effectively what you just asked me. Is life long or short? Is this table tall or short? It's a table. It's a life. We're like I think a biggest thing, we'll do this one, is that people are afraid of death, so they put so much significance on life. Life
Mm,
is so insignificant. People die, people are born, all day long. There are people everywhere. It's just, it's not significant. It's not special.
Mm.
There's so many things that aren't alive that weren't alive. And then there's like, like lava. That's not alive, you know? That wasn't alive. And then so we've got lava, right? Lava's pretty cool and it's everywhere. We don't sit around talking about lava all day, right? It fills the core of the earth. Why is that not as equally as important as life, right? It's just
Mm.
the thing.
Yeah,
Just the thing.
interesting. Then you get into like
Yeah.
all ego and stuff.
Into what?
Into like ego and stuff. Like we assign so
Yeah.
much meaning because of the ego. It's like,
It's because of fear. We're afraid. So
yeah,
the ego's the shield.
yeah.
When you
Protection
remove the
mechanism.
fear, when you remove the fear, there's nothing to hide. And
Yeah.
you're because really ego is just you are afraid to be judged, so you put on the facade that you think other people want you to be,
Mm.
and then you go really hard into it. This is who I am,
Yeah.
and it's not.
Yeah.
And then you feel some sort of way all the time, and it sucks. I used to have a huge ego, and now I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's the way. Man, I love
yeah,
it. Good stuff.
it's
Well, thank you for all these shares, man. I appreciate you jumping on and sharing this wisdom.
yeah, it was fun. I had a blast.
Good fun, good fun. Well, where can people connect with you if they want to connect with you?
Look me up on Facebook, John Schuette, JohnSchuette. I'm also on Instagram, the John Schuette, all one word. And yeah, hit me up on those two things. If you got questions or if you want to tell me how much you hate me, like I'm down for whatever. Like send me some hate mail, finger in the mail, whatever. I'm cool. It's whatever. I'm ready. I'm prepared to experience anything. So whatever you got, send it my way. And I don't know. That's about all I got.
Nice, 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 nice. Cool. Thank you, man. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, appreciate you.